Hare Krishna, my dear Prabhus, dear Matajis. Thank you for joining our morning japa session. Again, that is 5:30 to 7 o'clock in the morning. You can join the whole 1.5 hour, or you can log in and log out anytime. Happy Sunday. And of course, Hare Krishna. Good morning, Chandrika Radha Mataji, Christine Mataji, Moksha Lakshmi Mataji, Rasarani Mataji. Back to McCoy Prabhu, back to Oliver, back to Paolo, back to Rolly, Jonah Mataji, and Riza Mataji. And our dear Prabhus, Radhant Prabhu, Navadip Chandra Prabhu. Good morning. You know the drill, we should be in the right mood, the mood of request and the mood of humility. So join me as we recite the invocation mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Shaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Utamas Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. I offer my obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudev. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the Personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So previously, there was a question by Saunika Rishi, the head of the sages in Naimisaranya. Few questions regarding what did how does the Lord create this universe through his energies. We have a few questions. That will be from 5 to 10 verses in the fourth chapter. What is the activities and wonderful and inconceivable activities of the Lord? How does Krishna maintains this universe? And before answering that, Sukadeva Goswami first, Suta Goswami mentioned that it was the same question that Maharaj Pariksit asked to Sukadeva Goswami. And Sukadeva Goswami, of course, we know learned personalities, devotees of Krishna, they always pay obeisances, they always pay respect, they always glorify Krishna before even answering any question. They know the knowledge is coming from Krishna, and that is the section that we will discuss, and also part of the discussion for today. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, Cosmic Creation, Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 4, the process of creation, and we are at text number 19. Translation. He is the Super Soul and the Supreme Lord of all self-realized souls. He is the personification of the Vedas, religious scriptures, and austerities. He is worshipped by Lord Brahma and Shiva and all those who are transcendental to all pretensions. Being so revered with awe and veneration, may that Supreme Absolute be pleased with me. So, Sukadeva Goswami, before answering this, is always praising in a lot of verses, paying obeisances and praising Krishna as the Supreme. And here, he mentioned that Krishna is the Super Soul. At the same time, he is the personification of Vedas. The scriptures is compiled by Krishna as Vyasadeva. He is also um, to be known in the Vedas. Yung topic sa mga Vedas, sa scriptures is siya yung pinaka main na essence to know Krishna. That's why lagi lumalabas yung don't be focused on the flowery words ng Vedas, because even the Mayavadis, even the impersonalists, and even other practices, those karma candies, demigod worshippers, they use the Vedas, pero they don't get the essence. They go around and around the rules and regulation, the tradition, the culture, the other practices and all. And ayun yung nakakaligaw. You can go round and around, pero hindi ka napupunta dun sa pinaka-essence, sa gitna, which is si Krishna. And that's why we need the expert guidance ng spiritual master. We should have the Brahman, we should have the Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. One could not whimsically just study the Vedas on his own. Ang dami ko rin nakikilala, even professors wanted to read Hare Krishna. Yes. Some wanted to read na yung Vedas on their own, wanted to study. Pero hindi basta-basta siya ma-study. You cannot really enter the realm of the study. Some will be just like, flowery words. They will repeat it, tapos yung poetry, yung other ideas they will get. But what is the use if one doesn't know Krishna in studying the Vedas? So, it was mentioned by Srila Prabhupada here, the Supreme Lord is realized only by the devotees. So, even scholars and other philosophers could not realize Krishna if they don't have the devotion. That's why devotees means they have devotion, and they have to be a disciple of a bona fide teacher. And a disciple have discipline, have to follow. The Gyanis and the Karmis, they try to come to the Supreme Lord to understand Krishna through mental speculation. So that's what we are trying to avoid. So we always want to clarify, or how to call this, confirm even yung realization natin. We want to confirm kung pasok ba siya dun sa Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. In that way, we will be in line. Tas hindi tayo speculate lang. That's why devotees of Krishna doesn't want yung intention din niya, doesn't want anything for himself. He is called Nishkami. Kasi yung intention niya, yung desire niya palagi is to please Krishna, not to speculate, not to gain anything in the study ng Vedas, in the scriptures. So let's read text number 20. May Lord Shri Krishna, who is worshipable Lord of all devotees, the protector and the glory of all the kings, Andaka and Vrishni of the Yadu dynasty, the husband of all the goddess of fortune, the director of all sacrifices, and therefore the leader of all living entities, the controller of all intelligence, and the proprietor of all planets, spiritual and material, and the supreme incarnation on the earth, the supreme all-in-all, be merciful upon me. So he's mentioning the different energies of Krishna, spiritual and material energies of Krishna. He's glorifying Krishna's greatness, and he wants Krishna's mercy. Before answering any question, he wants Krishna's mercy. So that's a devotee in a humble mood. Even he was being asked by great personalities, Sukadev, Maharaj Pariksit, is in a humble mood, praising Krishna first. Sri Prabhupada mentioned here that Sukadev Goswami is one of the prominent Gata Vyalikas, who are freed from all misconceptions. So that's why we need the guru, because we have different and imperfect senses. So ano yung nagagawa ng imperfect senses na yon? Aside from speculation, hindi natin naiintindihan. There will be miscommunication or lack of understanding. So, kailangan natin before we teach, we are trying our best to understand from a bona fide teacher in a humble mood. So, him, before
He
this
teach this
glories,
glories
mas
mas
magiging
magiging
valid.
valid.
Sir Prabhupada
Perhaps Sir
mentioned here,
Prabhupada
super
mentioned here,
importante, yung
super
Ladini
importante,
Shakti
yung
or
Ladini
the
Shakti
energy of
or
Krishna. The greatest form ng energy ni Krishna is si Srimati Radharani. And he performed the pastime of Rasa Lila to attract the minds of conditioned souls. So, hindi siya palagi, again, hindi tayo pwede mag-jump into the Rasa Lila or the Rasa dance ni Krishna, yung intimate pastimes niya with the gopis. These are made, of course, para to attract yung conditioned souls in the proper time. He's Rasa Lila just to attract, sorry, let's read. Yan. And when the Lord manifests himself on this earth, he partially displayed the activities of his pleasure potency in his Rasa Lila, just to attract the conditioned souls, who are all after the phantasmagoria pleasure potency in the degraded sex enjoyment. Because sex enjoyment is the highest form of sense gratification, the lust, and it's hard for people to give that up. So si Krishna gave a lot of antidote kung ano yung mga pang-kontra sa mga desire natin. You have uncontrolled tongue in speaking, and chant Hare Krishna much more. Kung hirap ka to control your tongue in eating, ang sarap ng prasadam. You like the sense of hearing, ang ganda ng mga kirtans. Does your sight, you want to see beautiful things, you can see the darshan of Krishna. You want to have your sense of touch engaged, linis ka ng temple. So, a lot of things. Of course, even the sex desire, si Krishna have the antidote, how to turn that loss into love. And one of it is knowing the pastime of Krishna. And if one reaches the pastime of Krishna in the Rasa Lila, and his desire will be satisfied and will be transformed. So, mas marirelish niya yung transcendental taste ng mga pastimes ni Krishna. So here, a lot of glorification, and sinasabi dito, si Krishna is always the guide ng isang devotee. The Lord is therefore the guide of all devotees, and as such, Sukadev Goswami offered him due respects with love-laden feelings. So si Krishna, never niya pinapabayaan yung mga devotees niya. By the power ng expansion niya, super soul, he gives forgetfulness, he gives remembrance, he gives knowledge. And Sukadev Goswami is praying for that remembrance and knowledge. So, he could speak beneficial sa mga attendees ng conversation nila ni Maharaj Pariksit. Saka ma-answer niya ng accordingly. Radhanath Prabhu, we miss your
Alright,
presence.
yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you for that wonderful readings, Prabhu Radhacharan. And so continuing with the text, number 21. Translation. It is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who gives liberation. By thinking of his lotus feet at every second, following in the footsteps of authorities, the devotee in trance can see the absolute truth. The learned mental speculators, however, think of him according to their whims. May the Lord be pleased with me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The mystic yogis, after a strenuous effort to control the senses, may be situated in trance in a trance of yoga just to have a vision of the super soul within everyone. But the pure devotee, simply by remembering the Lord's lotus feet at every second, at once becomes established in real trance, because by such realization, his mind and intelligence are completely cleansed of the disease of material enjoyment. We'll just pause for 1 second here because basically the purport um, and from the translation, Srila Prabhupada was speaking about the mental speculators, how with their tiny intelligence, they also have intelligence, like each and every one of us. Unfortunately, some of them who are really mental speculators think that they can try or they can understand the, the absolute or the supreme being according to their own understanding. It's a common example that I think Radhachan Prabhu and all of us are giving this analogy of the frog in the well. So due to our limited information, we think that we understand already, or at least we think that we understand everything, but that's only according to what we perceive, according to what we have. So this is the material disease that I feel I believe that Srila Prabhupada was speaking here, this disease of mental speculation, because in every aspect the enjoyment is there, eh. So even the speculators, the enjoyment they're taking or that they're getting from their, from the workings of their mind is somewhat pleasing to them, but unfortunately that is a disease as Srila Prabhupada is saying. So we stop speculating. Basically in this purport, Srila Prabhupada was putting effort, focusing on the devotees who are very much different when they approach uh, the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the Absolute Truth in trying to understand it. They are not trying to understand it in their own um, mental speculation, but actually hearing from qualified authorities and sources. And a wonderful um, text here was being given in the Bhagavad Gita. Sa purport in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text number 10. That is the verse in translation that to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. So a very common verse, very popular verse. Actually, one of the most used verses, because this explains how the Lord, by His mercy to the devotees who are, 100% surrendered to His lotus feet, the process of Krishna consciousness, they they are being given, nibigyan sila ni Lord ng intelligence. Actually, the Lord is the one supplying them all the intelligence, all the proper mood that they need in order to advance in this process of Krishna consciousness. So the devotee doesn't think that it's because of his own, talino ko, sariling pag-uutak ko to. I'm self-made. Walang ganon sa devotee. The devotee always think that his case is always the mercy case. Palagi nating sinasabi yun. We are eternally conditioned souls, but somehow or other, by the mercy of the devotees, the spiritual master, the process of bhakti yoga, we are given this opportunity to not speculate anymore, because we've been speculating so many lifetimes. We think that, first of all, we think that we can enjoy separately from the Lord. That is the main reason why we are cast away, thrown away in this pitiable, miserable condition dito sa material world. Because we speculated, we're already with Krishna, but we think that let's try to enjoy, without Krishna. So that is the disease that I believe Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. So basically, the verse is explaining the difference between the mental speculators and the devotees, how they approach Lord Krishna, or how they try to understand Krishna or the absolute truth. The devotee always relying on the mercy and proper authorities, as opposed to the mental speculators who tend to rely on their own mental speculations. Kaya nga sila mental speculators eh. Kasi puro lang sila mental speculation. Text number 22. Ay, may maganda palang ano dito. Paborito ko yan eh. Kasi may kanta yan eh. There's this wonderful na naman. There's this very nice verse. It's a prayer actually. Nasa first paragraph that Sri Prabhupada mentioned. The King Kulashekar, a great devotee of the Lord, he prays. Somehow this is how the devotee thinks, and King Kulashekar is a great devotee of the Lord. He prays like this. Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjarantam Adyaiva Me Vishatumana Sarajaham Saha Prana Prayana Samaye Kapa Vata Pitai Kanta Varo Dana Vidaw Smaranam Kutaste. Translation. Ano to kasi very very dear sa akin tong verse na to and tong prayer na to kasi bata pa lang ako naririnig na tayo. My mother, Moksha Lakshmi, good morning. My mother is attending. Used to play this. It's a wonderful song by one devotee. And my mother used to play. It's in a cassette tape. So in translation, it's very nice. My Lord Krishna, I pray that the swan of my mind may immediately sink down to the stems of the lotus feet of your lordship and be locked in their network. Otherwise, at the time of my death, time of my final breath, when my throat is choked up with cough, how will it be possible to think of you? This is the devotee. This is the prayer. Wonderful. Just wanted to highlight that also. Text number 22. May the Lord, who in the beginning of the creation amplified the potent knowledge of Brahma from within his heart and inspired him with full knowledge of creation and of his own self, and who appeared to be generated from the mouth of Brahma, be pleased with me. Purport, as we have already discussed herein before, the Lord, as the super soul of living beings, from Brahma to the insignificant ant, endows all with the required knowledge potent in every living being. A living being is sufficiently potent to possess knowledge from the Lord in the proportion of some mathematical numbers 50/64 or 78% of the full knowledge acquirable. So apparently hanggang ganun lang tayo maximum. Para yung nakaraan, pinag-uusapan natin about the Supreme Personality of Godhead having, of course, being the Supreme. He has 100% of all the qualities and the powers like this. And if I remember correctly, somehow the demigods, at least, maybe Lord Shiva, can somehow reach up to 70 something percent, no? Parang ganun, no? 78, 75%, parang ganun. Tapos tayo as normal living beings can come up to something, naalala niyo ba kung ilan? Basta parang something 60 or maybe lower. But anyway, the point is the Lord is the supreme proprietor. He is the only possessor of all these wonderful qualities in full, 100%. But here it's being said that 78% of full knowledge acquirable. Hanggang doon lang tayo. That's why sa Vedas, there's always this, for us, conditioned living entities, inconceivable knowledge. Because we're only, if we're lucky, we can acquire, sabi nga dito, 78% full knowledge para sa atin. Pero there's more. That how much? 12%? 22% more is for us. O yan. Thank you. 64 qualities or 100%. Maganda. Basahin nyo na lang yung chinat ni Radha Charan Prabhu sa chat box natin. Magandang stats. So yun. So there's always this thing that difficult for us to understand. That's why this inconceivable knowledge, this inconceivable potency is actually also an energy of the Lord. So that's why we, as living entities, knowing that, then there's really no reason why we should not surrender. Because we will always be put in the situation where even the devotees, where some things we will not be able to understand immediately. And so that is Krishna's trick. I believe that is Krishna's trick for us to surrender, because there's always the focus here being given is that the living entity tends to speculate, it tends to do by himself. So this following verses we're reading and Srila Prabhupada was explaining, it's really giving attention, giving focus to that fact that the living entity should not speculate. He should not rely on his own brain. We had this wonderful conversation with senior devotee. It's a very practical, who gave a very practical advice on an aspiring devotee practicing Krishna consciousness, whether in early age or even as an older devotee, to never rely on one's own mind. Always consult with the devotees. Always get their opinions like this. So it helps because yeah, that takes away this mentality na, oh, kaya ko to. Walang problema. So we're always relying on our mind. So again, the devotee always consults. He always follows the authority, always listens to the proper sources. And like Lord Brahma, may magandang pangalan si Lord Brahma rito. Na from the beginning of his birth, sa embryo pa lang, dito ba yun? Veda Garbha ang pangalan something. Si Lord Brahma is also known as Veda Garbha because right from the very beginning, he was already injected or infused with the knowledge. And that, of course, is by the mercy of the Lord. Because Prabhupada is explaining, for him to be able to create, of course, we understand that Supreme Lord is the ultimate creator, but he tasked Lord Brahma to be the secondary creator. So for him to be able to do what he needed to do, binigyan siya ng necessary knowledge ni Lord from the very beginning. And so yun, yung Veda Garbha name, right from when he was still an embryo. Because we understand, diba, Lord Brahma, he was born out of the navel, from the navel of the Supreme Lord. So he was given that task because Prabhupada was explaining also, it will not be possible for him to create anything, or it's like even in the normal situation for people, it will not be possible for him to think of anything, to create anything without first having some knowledge. So Lord Brahma was given that in order to create this material cosmic manifestation. So again, coming from the Lord, every demigod is always relying ultimately in the Supreme Person. They may, in the Supreme Personality of Godhead's blessings and mercy, they may themselves give a very specific boons, benedictions, just like we hear Lord Shiva, one of his name is Ashutosh, which is, by the way, usually commonly when we say Ashutosh, parang pangalan ni Lord Shiva, is we always translate it to easily pleased and easily displeased, and that is not correct. Ashutosh means one who is easily pleased, so it's not binary, it's not two-way. So Lord Shiva is always easily inclined to give benediction. So that means Lord Shiva. And we understand because Lord Shiva is very merciful, even to the ghosts, those who are roaming around without having his material body, his gross material body. He's taking care of them. They take shelter of Lord Shiva. That's why Lord Shiva is a great Vaishnava in that sense. But yeah, otherwise, everything is still reliant. They always rely on the blessings of the Supreme Lord. Nothing. They cannot do anything without the Supreme Lord. That's why, as Vaishnava devotees, we're always told that we actually, there's no need to worship them, the demigods. We give them respect, but we simply have to worship Lord Krishna, satisfy Lord Krishna, and all of them will be satisfied. Text number 23. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who enlivens materially created bodies of the elements by lying down within the universe, and who, in his Purusha incarnation, causes the living being to be subjected to the 16 divisions of the material modes which are his generator, be pleased to decorate my statements. Galing ng mga ano, no? Mga wordings na ginamit. Medyo malalim na pero ito na actually itong part ng creation na to, no, medyo magkakaroon tayo ng mga technical, medyo mga malalalim na mga discussion. But again, we pray to the Lord and by the help of the devotees and by this wonderful sangha, it will not be very hard for us because we always have each other to cross-check whatever we're saying. And first of all, to hear from Srila Prabhupada. Purport. As a fully dependent devotee, Shukadev Goswami, unlike a mundane man who is proud of his own capability, invokes the pleasure of the personality of Godhead so that his statements may be successful and may be appreciated by the hearers. So this is I thought about Srila Prabhupada on his very famous prayer when he was coming over to the West. He prayed something like this also, that his speaking ability may be understandable, may be effective according to them, because Srila Prabhupada is of course a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. He has capability of relaying this knowledge or sharing them this knowledge of Krishna consciousness. But he was praying because he's having some serious doubts that they will understand because of the unfortunate materialistic situation, the very deep na conditioning ng mga Western um, people. So he was having this doubt. So that's why he was praying. He was praying to the Lord for His mercy. Sana when I speak, they will be able to understand. Because otherwise, how can they know you? How can they understand you? So similarly here, we can see Shukadev Goswami is praying in the same manner. Diba sabi niya sa translation, be pleased to decorate my statements. So that potency to deliver, to understand the message, the one who is speaking is praying to the Lord. Sana you endow my speaking ability so that it will be successful and they can understand. So this is always the position of the devotee. He's always relying again to the Supreme Lord. He doesn't speculate, he doesn't think. Sabi nga rito, unlike a mundane man who is proud of his own capability. An intelligent man can see without mistake that any material creation, whether one's own body or a fruit or flower, cannot beautifully grow up without the spiritual touch. The greatest intelligent man of the world or the greatest man of science can present everything very beautifully only in so far as the spirit life is there, or in so much as the spiritual touch is there. Therefore, the source of all truths is the Supreme Spirit and not gross matter, as wrongly conceived by the gross materialist. We get information from the Vedic literature that the Lord Himself first entered the vacuum of the material universe, and thus all things gradually develop one after another. Similarly, the Lord is situated as localized Paramatma in every individual being. Hence, everything is done by Him very beautifully. So that's why we can hear from devotees, or we can read, or we can see some videos of Srila Prabhupada, or how Srila Prabhupada was very, you can say, critical. He's very straightforward. He doesn't compromise the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam and Lord Krishna when he speaks to the scientists, to these mental speculators, because it is explained by one devotee that the reason why Srila Prabhupada is very, we can say, strict, we can say very tough when he's having conversations with these scientists is because they are taking away the very basic understanding of the creation, that there's no God. It's only by gross material combinations of different elements, that all this exists. So there's no God. So he's very, you can say, he defends what Krishna is teaching in the what's Krishna's teachings in the Bhagavatam, to these speculators and to these atheists, because that's the greatest offense, that is the greatest sin that one can do, to think that there's no God, and sometimes they think that they're God themselves. For Srila Prabhupada was always on their what's the proper word, on their throat, or Srila Prabhupada is always prangka. He doesn't compromise what the Vedas is saying, what the Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, and he doesn't back down to them, because his main purpose, his main goal is to give the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, that is surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for sure, adversities is there, because practically most of the people are godless, and it is even mentioned that nowadays our civilization is godless. So it is our duty, it is by Srila Prabhupada's example, that the devotees now share this knowledge of Krishna consciousness, so that we can spread the knowledge of Krishna consciousness to others, so that they don't get into this trouble of speculating, of denying Krishna, or the Supreme God, Supreme Personality of Godhead, of what his rightful position is, which the scientists, not all of them, but most of them, the atheists, are taking away. They take away this equation, the God equation. So that is the danger. Next, 924. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of Vasudev, who compiled the Vedic scriptures. Pure devotees drink up the nectarian transcendental knowledge, dropping from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord. So again, just these wonderful prayers and praises towards the Lord, and appeal to be pleased upon me. So basically, paying obeisances, paying his respects to the Lord, and asking for his blessings, that he himself will be able to speak something effectively, and he doesn't rely on his own intelligence. So the pure devotees drink up the nectarian transcendental knowledge, dropping from the lotus-like mouth of the Lord. So that's why it's said in the Bhagavad Gita that the pure devotees, they derive great satisfaction and bliss by always enlightening one another and conversing about Lord Krishna. So this is the duty. This is the duty. This is the best activity for the devotees if they want to become happy. They talk about Krishna, they share Krishna's pastimes and activities, and for sure bliss will be there. Like it's mentioned that whenever there is katha, or some hearing, or some speaking about pastimes of the Lord, wherever there's chanting of the Lord's holy names, Krishna will be there. And of course, if Krishna is present, then everything is blissful, everything is wonderful. Text number 25, I believe, the last text for me, just very quickly. My dear King, Brahma, the firstborn, on being questioned by Narada, exactly apprised him on this subject as it had been directly spoken by the Lord to his own son, who was impregnated with Vedic knowledge from his very birth. Ito pala yun, kasi nabasa ko. Ito yung sinasabi. Andito yung term na Veda Garba, or a Vedantist from the embryo. Sabihin mo, nasa embryo pa lang siya, Vedantist na siya. And that is only possible because Krishna gave him that potency. So ito yun, without Vedic knowledge or perfect, infallible knowledge, no one can create anything. Yung binabanggit ko kanina that Srila Prabhupada is saying. It's not possible for somebody to create without knowledge. Just like even in our modern age now, if someone wants to build a say a computer, first of all you have to understand what a computer is comprised of, and how to put together all these parts, and what parts are the best, what are not, how do we always improve, this um, technology. So first, knowledge should be there. So it's very basic understanding that without knowledge, really not possible to create. So these people, like for example, the people in Apple, sure, we like this product so much because it's very helpful for our preaching. They're very effective, simple. Um, it requires a lot of expertise, a lot of knowledge base before they can come up with this nice product. So similarly, Lord Brahma was endowed with this knowledge from the Vedas. It's coming from the Lord himself. So he was able to create all this material creation, cosmic manifestation. So Lord Krishna is the supreme. He's the source. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. And Navadip Chandra Prabhu, take it away.
Hare Krishna. Oh, pleasant Sunday morning to everyone. And tama yung mga sinabi ni Radhanath Prabhu. Speaking of, yun nga, informations, and then yung mga knowledge ni Lord Brahma, malamang may pinanggalingan. And we are here now in the brand new chapter, which is chapter 5, and that is the title is The Cause of All Causes. Ito na. So, makikita natin dito yung ito kasi itong first 1 to 8
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, that's
1 to 8 chapter.
the end of the ano pala, the chapter.
Ah,
Very important that I, because otherwise you will not be able to go to the next. So thus end the
ayan.
Bhaktivedanta, the second canto, fourth chapter. Tapos yung bago namin entitled, The Process of Creation.
Yes. Tama. Process of creation. So, yeah, the process of creation, and then ito na, cause of all causes. So, yung first 8 texts is most of these are the question of Narada to Lord Brahma. So, basahin natin yung first one. Narada Muni asked Brahmaji, "O chief," ito tignan nyo mga kung paano siya magtanong. It's very sweet and actually this is a sensitive question actually. So, pero yung pagtanong niya is very sweet and very have such etiquette. Narad, O chief amongst the demigods, O firstborn living entity, firstborn, malamang ikaw yung firstborn, malamang ikaw yung tamang pagtatanungan ko dahil alam mo lahat. I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Please tell me, nag-offer muna siya ng obeisances. Please tell me that transcendental knowledge which specifically directs one to the truth of the individual soul and super soul. So may idea na siya actually. Bago niya pa tinanong, may idea na siya na papunta nga doon sa malalaman natin na merong yung supreme truth na maano natin yung it will lead to about the living entity and the supreme living entity. And that is Krishna, the supreme creator. And then sinabi niya dito nga sa kumbaga may ano yung background ng gusto niya malaman lahat ng background ng mga nangyayari or yung creation. And sabi niya dito sa text 2, "My dear father, please describe factually the symptoms of this manifest world. What is its background? How is it created? How is it conserved? And under whose control is all this being done? Ito, yung text 2, actually is malaman yan. Meron diyang 6 questions sa loob niyan na tinatanong niya kung ano yung symptoms of manifest world, and then what is its shelter, and who it is created, and how is it created, and how is it conserved, and what it depends on. And yung isa doon is what is it composed of. Kumbaga, ang lahat to is tanong, pero makikita natin yung sagot later on around here din sa text sa chapter 5, and doon din sa some of that is in the chapter 6. So aabangan natin 'yon. Pero ang pinaka-importante is yung mga tanong na magkakaroon tayo ng interest na nga no. Kasi most of the time nasa surface lang tayo eh. Most of the time. What I mean by that, kunyari punta ka ng train station, and then alam mo yung may gumawa nun, and then mayroon kang card, and then ano mo to, sasakay ka na, lalabas ka, pupunta ka sa pupuntahan mo, then lalabas ka. Pero yung minsan hindi natin natatanong na paano kaya nagawa to. Tatawid ka ng ilalim ng tubig, yung subway is patawid ng ilalim ng tubig. Paano kaya nagawa yun? So yun yung kumbaga yung tanong na yung creation. Na paano kaya nagawa to na napaka-wonderful? Malamang merong supreme or merong behind intelligent dito na powerful intelligent person na naggawa nito. And yun nga yung sinasabi niya sa text 3. My dear Father, all this is known to you scientifically because whatever was created in the past, whatever what will be created in the future, or whatever is being created at present, as well as everything within this universe, is within your grip, just like a walnut. Parang ang dali lang, Father. Ang dali lang kasi nasa grip mo lang within your parang walnut, parang liit-liit lang naman ng walnut eh, di ba? Tapos um, ano to, kayang-kaya mo lang na parang ikaw lahat lang may noon parang ikaw lang lahat ng may gawa noon. So, malamang merong behind. Pero, ito na yung sinabi niya. Ito na yung sinabi niya sa text 4. My dear Father, what is the source of your knowledge? Under whose protection are you standing? Naka-stand nga siya sa lotus, naka-ano nga siya, no? Naka-lotus position siya sa lotus flower. And under whom are you working? What is your real position? Do you alone created all these material elements by your personal energy? So, ni-inquire na talaga. Take note, sabi ko nga, sabi nga dito is very sensitive to kasi father niya yun eh, parang ano yun, may doubt ka. Pero submissively asking, submissively inquiring kung ano nga ba to gusto niyang malaman. Kasi pinraise niya rin eh. Sabi niya dito sa text 5. As the spider very easily creates the network of its cobweb and manifests its power of creation without being defeated by others, so also you yourself, by employment of your self-sufficient energy, created without any other's help. Parang bakit na sinabi muna yung spider? Kasi yun nga, self-sufficient energy created with, wala ka bang help galing sa iba? Makikita natin yung spider, nanggagaling lang yung web niya nasa sarili niya eh. Ilalabas niya lang, tapos yun yung gagamitin niyang, yung web na yun, yung gagamitin niyang paggawa ng bahay niya or pang-trap niya sa mga prey niya. Pero hindi katulad nung bird, na paggagawa sila ng bird nest is pupunta doon, kukuha ng something na straw or grass and all, i-create ng ganon, itatahiin niya. Pero si Lord Brahma parang siya lang yata mag-isa. So tinatanong ni Narada Muni na your self-sufficient energy and created without any other's help. So gusto niya talagang malaman. Ngayon, sabi dito sa text 6, whatever we can understand by the nomenclature, characteristic, and features of a particular thing, superior, inferior, or equal, eternal, or temporary, is not created from any source other than that of your Lordship, though so great. So, meron na siyang yun nga, ikaw yung gumawa and you are great. Inaano niya, pero ang tanong pa rin doon, is there any power source na gagalingan? Ngayon, ito na yung contradict. Pagkatapos niyang tinanong at binibigyan niya pa ng praising, sabi niya sa text 7, yet we are moved to wonder about the existence of someone more powerful than you. When we think that your great austerity in perfect discipline, although your good self is so powerful in the matter of creation. Teka, nagpe-perform ka ng austerity. And austerity are meant to please another. Is there any another one who must be pleased? Na doon mo nakukuha yung power mo? Ba't kailangan mong gawin yun? Nakita ko parang ikaw na, kaya mo na mag-isa eh. Pero before that, nag-perform ka ng austerity. Meaning to get something power, to get something instruction, to get something mercy. So hindi tayo basta independent. Si Lord Brahma, the supreme sa yung kumbaga the first living being, hindi siya basta independent. Meron power source. So ito na 'yon. Kitang natin kung paano nagtanong si Narada Muni in a very sweet way. Because he's a gentle soul. Sabi nga, Narada Muni, Nara is a human and Da is a giver. So, dito, ang meaning Narada Muni is, yun nga laging nag-give sa person. Ngayon, nag-a-ask siya. Tapos sabi dito, yun na nga na lahat ng tanong niya is magli-lead talaga doon sa yung from soul sa super soul. And nakikita natin dito is yung guru-disciple relationship kung paano magtanong, kung paano siya mag-inquire. And yun nga, na malalaman natin in a previous text na, and then nalaman na natin actually in the previous text na previous chapter na merong how to say, disciplic succession. Kasi nga, galing lahat ng all knowledge kay Krishna na binigay kay Lord Brahma. Then Lord Brahma give it to Vyasa and give it to Narada Muni, and Narada Muni give it to Vyasadeva. And narinig natin 'yon sa sa first canto chapter 2 chapter 4, 5 and 6. Narinig natin yung mga 'yon, napag-aralan natin 'yan. And Vyasadeva give it to his son Sukadeva. And Sukadeva Goswami give it to now Maharaj Pariksit. Kasi kung makikita nyo, nandito tayo ngayon sa conversation ni Lord Brahma and Lord and Narada Muni. Para tong inception kinikwento yung kwento ng kwento ng gano'n. So parang apat na player na. So mahirap isipin pero madali lang actually. I think sa Veda Tattva. One but different. Anyway, so yun. Galing kay Sukadev Goswami, kay Maharaj Pariksit. Ngayon, habang pinagkikwentuhan yun, nanduro si Suta Goswami and ninanarrate na rin kay Sauna Karishi. So, yun yung mga dialogue. So, ito yung guru parampara na talaga may pinanggagalingan, hindi lang basta speculation like sinasabi nila Radhacharan and Radhanath Prabhu. So, who is in control ngayon? Kumbaga, dito maano yung mga scientists na yung sa mga creation lagi sinasabing nila Radhacharan and Radhanath Prabhu na meron nga si Albert Einstein nga pala, scientist siya, pero siya yung scientist na hindi atheist. Pero meron siyang kaibigan na atheist, na scientist din, napakatalino. Pag sinabing scientist, matalino, laging naghahanap ng source and all, but ang tinatry nilang i-disregard yung cause. Ang inaano lang, gusto nilang nila yung effect. Dini-disregard nila yung cause. Pero itong chapter na to, cause of all causes nga eh. So, one time, of course, hindi nga siya yung kaibigan na atheist ni Albert, hindi nga siya naniniwala sa God. So, para patunayan ni Albert yon, Albert Einstein, is nung umalis yon, gumawa siya ng yung styro, ganyan, solar system, hinang niya, pininturahan niya, may sun, may iba't ibang planet. So, hinang niya sa ceiling, tapos nakalutang ng ganyan. Ganda. Yung ng buong solar system with the seven planets and yung sun yung nasa gitna. Tapos sabing ganon, dumating ulit kinabukasan. Oh, ganda naman na ito. Sinong gumawa na ito? Galing detailed may kulay pa, nakalutang. Sino gumawa na ito? Walang gumawa niyan. Kalokohan naman yan. May gumawa niyan, malamang may kulay pa tapos bilog na bilog. Tapos sakto pa yung mga orbits nila and all. Hindi, walang gumawa niyan. So, hindi siya maniwala na walang gumawa niyan. Malamang meron nagawa nun. So, ina-explain niya doon na kung kalokohan para sa iyo na walang gumawa niyan, pero alam mo meron, bakit mo dinideny na merong God, merong creator? So, dito ma-defeat yung mga atheist. Kasi biruin mo, simple na nga lang Hindi mo naman katiwala yung, ngayon, nagluluto kayo. Hindi mo naman by chance na, okay, bumili ka ng ingredients. So, bahala na maluto yan, by chance. Hindi, di ba? Merong intelligence gagawin mo. May measurement, merong lahat ng intelligence, ng power gagawin mo para mabuo yun. Para maging masarap yun. So, not only by chance. So, there is someone behind that. And malalaman natin yon. And alam nyo na yon. Pero malalaman natin yung detailed ng mga answer doon sa preview, sa mga coming up na text. And that is for now.
And thank you very much. This section ng ating Bhagavatam studies going a little bit technical, deeper, pero humbling kasi we would see even si Lord Brahma is claiming na I may be a creator in this universe, pero hindi pa rin ako yung God. So, we could see yung glories ng mga devotees in position, in a leadership, or like this, Lord Brahma and Demigod, how they are really surrendered, then clarifying. Ayun yung mga papag-usapan natin in the future. And thank you very much, Radhanath Prabhu and Navadip Chandra Prabhu, for this glorious study ng ating Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's a big help for us na maintindihan yung Bhagavatam together with devotees. Like what Radhanath Prabhu mentioned before, I also have read the Bhagavatam. Pero parang sabi ko, iba pag kasama yung mga devotees. Iba yung realization, iba yung understanding, iba yung, alam mo yun, yung sweetness. Tapos pagtapos ng class or before ng class, parang kakaiba siya, ibang effect. So yes, I'm so thankful being with your presence. Maraming salamat. Hare Krishna, Chandrika, Radha Mataji, Moksha Lakshmi Mataji, Rasarani, Shama Bihari, Prabhu, Bhakta McCoy, Bhakta Oliver, Bhakta Paulo, Rolly, Prabhu, Jonah, and Riza. And happy Father's Day, Radha at Prabhu. Andito mga fathers dito. Oliver, Rolly,
Oliver, happy
yan.
Father's Day.
Yan yung mga father natin dito sa
Oli Prabhu and Radhanath Prabhu.
Yan. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. And later, there will be a Bhagavad Gita class by Janalivas Prabhu at 11 o'clock. Tapos, popost namin sa group chat yung announcement. Maraming salamat. Hare Krishna. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaura Pramanande. All glories to you assembled devotees.